Rich Dad Poor Dad. What the Rich Teach About Money the Poor Don't. Written by Robert Kiyosaki. Published by Audiobook Zone. Introduction. What if everything you've been taught about money is wrong? What if the path to wealth isn't about working harder, saving more, or climbing the corporate ladder? What if the secret to financial freedom lies in a mindset so powerful, it can transform your life forever? Imagine growing up with two fathers, one rich, one poor. Both were intelligent, hardworking, and ambitious, but their views on money and life couldn't have been more different. One believed in the traditional path: go to school, get a good job, save money, and retire comfortably. The other saw the world differently. He believed in building wealth, taking risks, and making money work for him. This is the story of Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, a book that shatters conventional wisdom about money and reveals the secrets to financial independence. From a young age, Robert was caught between these two worlds. His biological father, the poor dad, was highly educated but struggled financially. His mentor, the rich dad, was a self-made millionaire who taught him lessons about money that schools never would. Through gripping anecdotes and life-changing lessons, Kiyosaki takes you on a journey that will challenge everything you thought you knew about wealth. What if the key to escaping the rat race isn't working harder but thinking smarter? What if the rich know something you don't? Dive into Rich Dad Poor Dad and discover the secrets that could change your financial future, forever. Chapter 1: The Rich Don't Work for Money. The poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them. This bold statement from Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad sets the stage for a life-changing lesson in Chapter 1. Imagine two young boys, Robert and his best friend Mike, desperate to make money. They come up with a plan to create counterfeit coins using melted lead toothpaste tubes. But their scheme is quickly shut down by Mike's father, the man Robert calls his rich dad. Instead of punishing them, Rich Dad offers them a job at one of his grocery stores, paying them just 10 cents an hour. At first, the boys are excited. But after weeks of backbreaking work, cleaning shelves, stacking cans, and sweeping floors, they're exhausted and frustrated. They feel exploited, working for what feels like pennies. Finally, they muster the courage to confront Rich Dad, demanding a raise. But instead of giving in, Rich Dad delivers a harsh truth: life pushes all of us around. Some people give up, others fight. A few learn the lesson and move on. Rich Dad explains that most people are trapped in a cycle of fear and desire: fear of not having money and the desire for more. They work harder, earn more, and spend more, never breaking free. But the rich think differently. They don't work for money, they make money work for them. Rich Dad challenges Robert and Mike to see beyond the paycheck, to look for opportunities where others see only obstacles. This isn't just a lesson about earning, it's about mindset, about seeing the world through the eyes of the rich. And it all starts with one simple shift: stop being a slave to money, and start making it your servant. Chapter 2. Why teach financial literacy? It's not how much money you make, but how much money you keep. This simple yet profound statement from Rich Dad Poor Dad sets the tone for Chapter 2, where Robert Kiyosaki reveals a shocking truth: most people struggle financially not because they don't earn enough, but because they don't understand money. Imagine this: you work hard, earn a paycheck, and spend it on bills, luxuries, and things that lose value over time. At the end of the month, you're left with nothing. Sound familiar? Rich Dad introduces Robert to the foundational concepts of financial literacy: assets, liabilities, and cash flow. He draws a simple diagram: assets on one side, liabilities on the other. Assets, he explains, put money in your pocket, like investments, businesses, or real estate. Liabilities, on the other hand, take money out, like mortgages, car loans, or credit card debt. Most people, Rich Dad says, confuse liabilities for assets, buying houses or cars they think are investments but are actually draining their wealth. Rich Dad warns that without financial literacy, even high earners can go broke. He shares stories of lottery winners and professional athletes who made millions but ended up bankrupt because they didn't understand how to manage their money. They spent on liabilities, not assets, and their wealth evaporated. The chapter ends with a challenge: start tracking your cash flow. Are your assets growing, or are you sinking deeper into debt? Rich Dad's lesson is clear: financial literacy isn't optional, it's essential. Without it, you'll always be chasing money, never truly free. But with it, you can build a life where money works for you, not the other way around. Chapter 3. Mind your own business. Your job is not your business. Your business is building and owning assets. This eye-opening statement from Rich Dad Poor Dad sets the stage for Chapter 3, where Robert Kiyosaki challenges a common misconception, that working a 9-to-5 job is the path to financial security. Imagine this: you work tirelessly for decades, climbing the corporate ladder, only to retire with little to show for it. Sound familiar? Rich Dad calls this the rat race, and the only way to escape it is to mind your own business. Rich Dad explains that most people confuse their profession with their business. A doctor might work at a hospital, but their business isn't medicine, it's the assets they own, like real estate, stocks, or a private practice. Similarly, a teacher's business isn't teaching, it's the investments they build outside the classroom. Rich Dad's advice is clear: focus on acquiring assets that generate income, whether it's rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, or a side business. He shares a story about a friend who worked as an airline pilot. While the pilot loved flying, his real wealth came from the apartment buildings he invested in on the side. Those assets provided passive income, allowing him financial freedom even if he stopped working. Rich Dad emphasizes that your job can fund your asset-building journey, but it shouldn't be your end goal. The chapter leaves you with a challenge: what are you building outside your job? Are you investing in assets that will grow and generate income over time, or are you relying solely on your paycheck? Rich Dad's lesson is simple but profound: true wealth comes from owning assets, not from working for a salary. Start minding your own business today, and watch your financial future transform. Chapter 4. The history of taxes and the power of corporations. The rich don't pay taxes, they find legal ways to keep more of their money. This provocative statement from Rich Dad Poor Dad introduces Chapter 4, where Robert Kiyosaki pulls back the curtain on how the wealthy use corporations and tax laws to their advantage. Imagine this: you work hard, earn a paycheck, and watch a significant portion of it disappear in taxes. Meanwhile, the rich seem to grow wealthier, paying far less. How do they do it? Rich Dad explains that the modern tax system was originally designed to tax the wealthy, but over time, the burden shifted to the middle class. The rich, however, found a way to turn the system in their favor. They use corporations, not just as a way to run businesses, but as a shield to protect their wealth. Corporations, Rich Dad reveals, offer legal tax advantages that individuals don't have. Expenses like travel, cars, and even meals can be written off as business costs, reducing taxable income. He shares a story about his own journey, showing how he used a corporation to invest in real estate. By funneling his investments through a corporate structure, he was able to minimize taxes and maximize profits. Rich Dad emphasizes that this isn't about evading taxes, it's about understanding the rules of the game and playing it wisely. The chapter leaves you with a striking realization: financial education isn't just about earning money, it's about keeping it. The rich don't just work harder, they work smarter, leveraging the system to their benefit. The question is, will you continue to play by the old rules, or will you learn how to use the tools the rich have mastered for generations? Chapter 5. The rich invent money. The rich don't just earn money, they create it. This bold idea from Rich Dad Poor Dad introduces Chapter 5, where Robert Kiyosaki reveals how the wealthy use creativity and financial intelligence to turn opportunities into wealth. Imagine this: while most people wait for the right time to invest or complain about not having enough money, the rich are busy inventing solutions that generate income. Rich Dad shares a story about a young Robert and his friend Mike, who wanted to invest in real estate but had no money. Instead of giving up, Rich Dad taught them to think creatively. They found a small house priced below market value, negotiated with the seller, and secured the deal with a small deposit. They then rented out the property, and the rental income covered the mortgage and expenses. Within months, they owned an asset that generated cash flow, all without using their own money. Rich Dad explains that financial intelligence isn't about how much money you have, it's about how you use your mind to spot opportunities. The rich see possibilities where others see obstacles. They use leverage, other people's money, time, and resources, to build wealth. The chapter leaves you with a powerful realization: money isn't just something you earn, it's something you can create. The question is, will you wait for opportunities to come to you, or will you use your creativity and financial intelligence to invent them? Chapter 6. Work to learn, don't work for money. Don't work for money, work to learn. This counterintuitive advice from Rich Dad Poor Dad introduces Chapter 6, where Robert Kiyosaki shares a life-changing lesson: the most valuable asset you can build isn't money, it's knowledge. Imagine this: you're offered 2 jobs. One pays well but teaches you nothing. The other pays little but equips you with skills that could make you rich. Which would you choose? Rich Dad tells Robert about his own journey, starting with humble jobs that paid little but taught him invaluable skills. He worked as a salesman, learning how to communicate, negotiate, and close deals. He took on roles in marketing, understanding how to attract customers and build brands. These skills, Rich Dad explains, were the foundation of his later success in business and investing. He emphasizes that specialized knowledge, especially in sales, marketing, and investing, is far more valuable than a high salary. Robert shares how he followed this advice, taking a low-paying job at a Xerox corporation to learn sales. Though the work was tough, the skills he gained, confidence, persuasion, and resilience, became the tools he used to build his own wealth later. Rich Dad's message is clear: don't chase a paycheck, chase the skills that will make you financially independent. The chapter leaves you with a striking realization: the richest people in the world aren't just wealthy, they're knowledgeable. They've mastered the art of learning, turning every experience into an opportunity to grow. The question is, are you working for money, or are you working to learn the skills that will set you free? Chapter 7. Overcoming obstacles. It wasn't the lack of money that held people back. It was something far more powerful, hidden in plain sight, lurking in the shadows of their own minds. Fear. Cynicism. Laziness. Bad habits. Arrogance. These were the real enemies of financial success. Robert Kiyosaki learned this truth the hard way. He watched how people, brilliant and talented, remained stuck in financial mediocrity, not because they lacked intelligence, but because they let their emotions control their decisions. The primary difference between a rich person and a poor person is how they manage fear. Fear of losing money was the first trap. Most people feared failure so much that they never took the first step. They played it safe, worked hard for a paycheck, and avoided risks, never realizing that by doing so, they had already lost. The rich, however, understood that failure wasn't the end. It was the beginning of wisdom. Then came cynicism, that inner voice whispering, "It's too risky. What if it doesn't work?" It paralyzed people before they even started. But the wealthy trained themselves to silence that voice, replacing doubt with action. Laziness disguised itself cleverly. Not as idleness, but as busyness. "I don't have time." A dangerous lie. The rich made time for financial education, investments, and opportunities. Bad habits, especially spending before saving, kept people trapped in a cycle of poverty. The pattern of your spending reflects the pattern of your life. The rich paid themselves first, investing in assets before indulging in luxuries. And arrogance? The deadliest of all. The belief that one already knew enough. That there was nothing more to learn. The moment a person stopped learning, they stopped growing. The battle wasn't against money. It was against the obstacles within. Would you overcome them? Or would they keep you shackled forever? Chapter 8. Getting started. Everything begins with a decision. A moment when a person stops dreaming and starts doing. But the real question is, where do you start? In Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki reveals in Chapter 8, Getting Started, that financial success isn't reserved for the lucky or the privileged. It belongs to those who take action. The richest people in the world build networks. Everyone else is trained to look for work. The journey starts with clarity. What do you truly want? Just more money? Or freedom? Security? Adventure? The rich don't chase money blindly, they define their goals, setting a clear destination before the journey begins. But knowing isn't enough. Action separates the successful from the dreamers. Many wait for the right time to start investing, learning, or taking risks. The truth? The perfect time never comes. The wealthy act, learning as they go. There is gold everywhere. Most people are not trained to see it. Kiyosaki lays out the steps: find a reason stronger than your excuses. Choose what you want to master. Surround yourself with winners. Take small steps toward financial intelligence. And most importantly, take action. Most people fail before they even begin, crippled by doubt and hesitation. They say, "I'll start when I have more money," not realizing that wealth starts in the mind, not the wallet. The wealthy think differently. They invest in learning before they invest in assets. Opportunities are everywhere, but they don't wait for the hesitant. So, what will you do? Will you keep waiting for the right moment, or will you take that first step today? The path to wealth isn't hidden. It's right in front of you. The only thing standing in the way is you. Chapter 9. Still want more? Here are some to-dos. So, you've started the journey. You've learned about assets, liabilities, cash flow, and financial freedom. But now comes the real challenge: what's next? In Chapter 9, Robert Kiyosaki makes one thing clear: wealth isn't a destination, it's a lifelong journey. Learning doesn't stop once you've made your first investment or started earning passive income. The rich keep growing, evolving, and sharpening their financial intelligence. The more you learn, the more you earn. The world is full of opportunities, but only those who are prepared can see them. Kiyosaki lays out the to-do list for building lasting wealth, simple yet powerful steps that separate the wealthy from the average. First, continue your financial education. Read books, attend seminars, find mentors. Surround yourself with people who challenge and inspire you. The wealthy never assume they know enough, they stay hungry for knowledge. Second, take action every day. Learning without doing is meaningless. Find a small investment. Start a side business. Analyze a deal. Do something that moves you closer to financial freedom. Third, give back. Teach others what you've learned. The act of sharing knowledge reinforces your own understanding and expands your network. The best way to learn is to teach. Most people stop once they reach a certain level of comfort. That's the difference between those who stay wealthy and those who slowly lose what they've built. The question isn't whether opportunities exist, it's whether you're ready to seize them. So, what will you do? Will you keep growing, learning, and taking action? Or will you settle for good enough? The journey doesn't end here. It's just beginning. Conclusion. The choice is yours. At the heart of Rich Dad Poor Dad lies a simple yet powerful truth: wealth isn't about money. It's about mindset. Robert Kiyosaki didn't just teach financial principles, He shattered the illusions that keep people trapped in the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. The poor and middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them. This book was never just about making money, it was about rethinking money. Now, you stand at a crossroads. One path leads to financial security, freedom, and control over your future. The other? A lifetime of chasing paychecks, fearing risks, and wondering what if. The difference between these paths isn't luck, talent, or background. It's action. Some will close this book, inspired but unchanged. Others will take that first step, buy their first asset, seek financial education, challenge old beliefs, and start building wealth. The choice is yours. But remember this, money is a tool, not a master. The rich don't work for money, they make money work for them. They don't fear failure, they learn from it. They don't wait for opportunities, they create them. So, will you continue down the road of financial dependence? Or will you take control, break free from the cycle, and build a future on your own terms? The journey doesn't end here. It starts now.